of the world, and the golden age unfurled. O Elohim, to us draw nigh, come bless our earth, the sea and sky. Awake the world from its long night, help us ascend by God's great love.
Hail, legions of the sun! I stand upon the earth, that thou mightest come in the fullness of the presence of Alpha and Omega. In this hour that is for the turning of the worlds, we as Elohim have chosen to position ourselves as focal points, that the maximum light of Maximus, of Alpha, of beloved Omega, might truly be channeled to the earth without harm to her evolutions. Therefore we, the 14, stand. And we have positioned ourselves in a cosmic formula across this planetary body. Our very positioning upon earth determines the qualification that the light of Alpha and Omega will take. Therefore, in each of our dictations, we will reposition ourselves that the quality of the release of the crystal light might converge for the activation of chakras and for movement among the people of earth, in the governments of the nations, through those who govern the economies, those who are the workers, those who are the mothers, those who are the teachers and the children, those who are the free, those who would be, and those who are the oppressors. Our momentum is come that we might radiate the full glory of Alpha and Omega through those individuals who take up their abode on planet Earth, that our light might accomplish that which has been foretold. For our light will be the sending, our light will be the focus, that each individual upon earth may make the necessary choices and therefore take up the direction of the heart, whether white or black, for there are no in-betweens. Therefore let each one show allegiance and alignment to the Almighty, and thereby be confirmed by our word. Let the mighty action of the sacred fire, as the seraphim of God act as electrodes for our own light, be distributed for the harvest. For surely the hour must come, and is come, of the separating of the tares and the wheat, and the binding of the tares in bundles by the angels of the sacred fire. Therefore the fallen ones come, and they come as close as they can to the heart of the mother, that there might be, even in them, somehow an impartation of light, or perchance a reflected light. For they desire to dance one more dance, stealing the light of the mother for their fancy. My message is a penetration of worlds. My presence is the engulfing of the planet with the will of God, and every heart so dedicated receives the arc of blue lightning from my abode. Each of the divine complements forms the arcing over the circumference of the earth, and therefore as I raise my hands, Amazonia, standing in South America, receives the light I send, returns the light as the omega current, and therefore the circle is complete of our God, of the figure eight flow, of the light of Alpha and Omega here below. And therefore the crisscrossing of light bands is that the earth might no longer be found as it was in the darkness of the dark ones, but that the coming of Elohim might be the sounding of the word, the sounding of light. Elohim of God, I am in the infinite light of the One. I am in the infinite heart of the Almighty. Lo, I am that I am. I am hurling millions of blue spheres, interpenetrating worlds, manifestations of light of the attainment of cosmic beings, interpenetrating each other and this entire planetary force field. The magnetization of light is such that those who are of the light must take their stand, and those who are not will also be found apart then from the center of the diamond of the holy will of God. Seek that will and ye shall find. I declare it in the mountains. I declare it in the heart of the central sun of the earth. I declare it in the heart of elemental life, in the heart of nature and the mother of the world. I declare it in the heart of the Trinity. I declare it in the heart of the Chelas of the Guru Sanat Kumara. I am the sustaining of rippling light across the planetary body and through it. I am the demagnetization of those force fields, of syncopated rhythm, of the rock beat. I am the demagnetization of the planetary body, of the entire accumulated momentum of the misuse of the life force of the mother. This demagnetization is a clearing of the records of yesterday, especially a clearing now of the momentum that has builded, that has reached a point of destructivity such as never has been seen upon the planetary body. Beloved hearts, this demagnetization of the misuse of the rhythm of the life force of the mother, even the raising up of the ascension spiral, will not necessarily affect those who have chosen by free will to be the instrument of the rhythm of the false hierarchy, but it will, in effect, be a stopping action upon the rolling momentum gathering force, and therefore is indicative of a moment of opportunity to the light bearers to roll back even the fallen ones and their rock music. Hear how they defy the Lord God Almighty. Hear how they defy Elohim. So they have planned their encampment on the hillsides of the world, even there where the hosts of the Lord descend. Thereby you may understand that the warfare upon this planetary body in this hour is a warfare of the spirit and of the flesh. It is of the celestial beings of light with those who are of the earth earthy. You can see that the confrontation of Armageddon is always seen where the forces of the light gather, where the children of the light are, but the war is waged at inner levels by those who are the sons of the Most High, with the denizens of the astral plane, and in the middle are those who have chosen to be the electrodes of the will of God versus those who have chosen to be the incarnation of the rhythm of the very hell itself. Angels of the living word, I call unto the all-seeing eye of God of Cyclopea. I call unto the mighty momentum of all Elohim of God, worlds without end, even the Elohim of cosmos' secret rays. I call now for the exposure to every light bearer upon earth of these momentums of darkness that have moved against the children of the light. I demand that the Chelas of El Moria receive my heartfelt instruction, that you might understand even in this hour of light's victory the boldness of the fallen ones who come forth to be the mouthpiece of the pit itself, whether in their condemnation of the messengers of God, whether in their rock music or the misuse of the life force in so many varying degrees through the drug culture. Beloved hearts of light, I am the incarnation of the power of God. Thus there is a mockery and the flaunting of that power worldwide this day, whether in the military complex of the Soviet Union or the nations of the earth pitted against the light bearers, whether it is in the misuse of power in economy or in the government. You may see and understand that the Elohim of the first ray must plant the flame of the will of God upon this force field, in the very heart of the messengers and chelas, in the very heart of the inner retreat. There must be the sounding of our word. There must be the thrusting back of the attempt to put down the sound of Helios and Vesta, and the rippling of the light wave of Alpha and Omega. Let the hour of the judgment come then for the binding of the astral hordes that are the sponsors of the youth, as they make merry and become the mouthpiece of this darkness. Let there be the collapsing of the structure at inner levels on the astral plane of the false hierarchy and all of its manipulations and machinations. I am Hercules. We are Hercules in Amazonia. I am Amazonia. I am the fullness of the light. I am setting now the degrees and the arcing of the degrees of light. And I tell you at inner levels, there is a literal consuming, a transmutation, and more than that, a dissolution of worlds that are not to be turned, that are not for the turning. There is a dissolution of banks of astral substance, floating grids and force fields, of mass mayhem and murder that would, if they could, spill over into the physical octave in this very canyon and in this very place. Children of the great heart and light of the Almighty, children of the great central sun magnet, I am the leaping of the sacred fire. You must understand that the last enemy that is overcome is the enemy on the physical plane, and that the dissolution of the inner worlds is the beginning of the withdrawal of the combined and accumulated momentum of the fallen ones. They have nothing of their own, no source or resource of their own, but only rely then on the collective consciousness of the gathering and the misuse of the light of the light bearers for eons upon this planetary body. Therefore you see those who are the physical instruments have no power. They have no power in and of themselves, but only may be fed from those reservoirs of darkness as the false hierarchy permits and allows, for the very reason that the false hierarchy perceives something to be gained by the giving of that energy. Therefore the poor fools who are the poor tools are sometimes the instruments of greater degrees of energy of darkness, and sometimes less. Sometimes their experiences are exhilarating, and sometimes, as they say, it is a very, very bad trip indeed. Blessed children of the light, They themselves have no surety, no confidence of a continuing sponsorship of the fallen ones, but they exult in the moment of glory and the sensation of the rushing of that energy through them, though it is polluted many times over, having been used and used again by the fallen ones. Therefore we direct our chelas of the sacred fire in this very hour to the attention of the calling for the arresting of the spirals of the accumulated momentums of war, the councils of war, famine, plague, pestilence, death itself, the momentum of black magic and witchcraft upon the planetary body, the momentum, the entire accumulated momentum of Satan and his seed, serpent and his seed, Abaddon and his angels, and the man of sin, of the beast whose name is blasphemy, of the dragon who gives power unto the beast and heals the deadly wound, of the beast whose number is 666. Blessed ones of the light, it is the astral momentum that we would go after in this year of victory. Let the physical signs always remain as signs of activities on the inner planes, and therefore let the children of the light enter now into the astral plane, shielded by the Elohim of God, shielded by the 7 mighty archangels, to go forth for the puncturing, for the call, for the standing guard, and being at hand in the presence of the work of the mighty archangels and Elohim. Understand your presence as representatives of God government on the earth, representatives of the people of light, whose vote counts for the victory. Understand that this is a work for cosmic beings and all elemental life, and that you are there as sponsors of the living word in giving the continuous dynamic decree at inner levels when you are in your etheric bodies. As we go forth, for it must be done and it shall be done if we have the necessary support of keepers of the flame worldwide, that the accumulated momentums of destructivity upon the planetary body should be bound, should be taken, and should be moved to the court of the sacred fire and the great sea, that mighty sea of sacred fire that will contain them, consume, dissolve and transmute these conglomerate momentums. If this does not occur, beloved ones, we are very concerned. We are concerned as the manifestation of God's own consciousness, even as the Father is concerned in this hour for the Son incarnate. We come representing the Father, Mother God. We come out of parental concern for our offspring of light upon planet Earth. We come out of concern for the fact that by many and various means there has come about the puncturing of the aura and of the astral bodies of the people of the planet, and therefore by the very pressing in and the weight of darkness upon the earth, there is a pressing through not only the children of the light, but especially the fallen ones of the momentums of the pit and of the astral plane. And should this continue beyond the very date of the first of this year, there should be an overwhelming weight which in the past has brought about cataclysm upon this and other planetary homes. Therefore we have come, you might say, as the cosmic garbage collectors of the entire momentum of that human creation which the Lord God Almighty will permit to have taken, so that the children of the light, who have indeed earned the opportunity to bring down the light and pave the way for the great golden age, may have that opportunity to rescue their sisters and brothers in every nation, and to prove their willingness, their fortitude, and the ability of God within them to overcome and to overthrow the entire Nephilim conspiracy upon this planetary body. Without the dispensations of light which we bring, such an option following this midnight hour would no longer be possible. I tell you this out of the depth of my being, as the sons of God and the morning stars have gathered together around the throne of Alpha and Omega, and given their consideration and their deliberation in this hour of the victory. Realize then that our Father, Mother God, in the person of Alpha and Omega, have blessed the efforts, have acknowledged the efforts of keepers of the flame, of the messengers, the two witnesses and their disciples, and have determined that the great law should allow this to take place. Therefore we stand. I am Hercules, I am Amazonia, we are the Elohim of the first ray, ensouling the planetary body and holding the balance. Therefore we clear the way for illumination's flame to come forth. Through the Lord of the world, through Apollo and Lumina, through the angels of light and illumination, going forth then for the education of the youth and hearts of light everywhere, an education so necessary for the mending of the tattered garments, the mending of the tears, the mending of the chakras, first by illumined action, by the awareness of what is the law of God, and then by a determined effort to overturn all misdeeds and misuses of that law. Therefore, by increased illumination through the Elohim of God, some who walk in the ways of serpents will come into alignment with that which is just and true and right for them under the dispensation of opportunity at hand. Others who have walked in the way of light themselves by the illumined action of the law will be turned to the darkness of their own karma, and they themselves may depart from the light unless the fervent call is made, and other dispensations than these which are forthcoming in this hour may come forth, that they also might be saved from the darkness of their own electronic belt patterns. We come in this hour for the seriousness of the hour at hand, for the opportunity that is given to you to draw the circle of fire around the inner retreat, to establish the place of God power, and to realize that where that God power is increased, there is threat, there is physical danger, there is the onslaught of the hordes of darkness that do move after the depraved and the insane, and do attempt to overturn the open door whereby these dictations may be delivered in this hour. It is most essential that you understand not only the office of the messenger and the burdens upon it in this hour, but also that you realize that in this present hour there is no physical replacement for the messenger. There is not one trained or one raised up that can both hold the balance and give forth the word, and that for the turning of the worlds and for the safety of the planet Earth there must be a physical orifice. And therefore, until the one does come, who should come, who may be qualified, and I say guardedly, may be qualified to receive the passing of the torch, it is absolutely essential that none fall into the delusion that perhaps it is time for this messenger to be in other octaves of light. I can tell you that the greatest need is here in the nexus in this hour, and that every keeper of the flame ought to make it his solemn responsibility to consider the complete and absolute protection of the messenger, the community, and the chelas of the light, and that there ought to be a greater consideration toward this cosmic purpose than to the dissipation of light all over the planet to those needy causes which are indeed legitimate, and yet which others who are of the light, who are Christians or Buddhists or Hindus or Muslims, do espouse and do sponsor. And therefore let us consider that outside of the body of keepers of the flame, there are none upon this planetary body who are concerned with the keeping of the flame of life in this octave, of the messenger, of the community, and of the cosmic purpose to which it is formed. Therefore realize that the dispensations which I have spoken of, as they unfold in the dictations of this conference, will come to pass not merely by these dictations, but by the continuing transfer of our word in many forms, and in the call and in the invocation and in the clearance that this messenger does act as the instrument for. Realize that the anchoring of all of that power must be on an ongoing basis, and therefore we project a 24-month cycle and then a 33-month cycle and beyond for all that we would release in this conference to finally be anchored in the physical octave. I repeat then my word to you that in order for it to be physically anchored, we must have this physical messenger present. Understand the truth and the reality of our word and of our message, and therefore act accordingly, consider accordingly in your deliberations for the inner retreat, for the continuing expansion of the body of light bearers through the stumping of the 50 states of the Union, and for the training of souls worldwide, whose purpose in coming here is to receive the transmission of light of the heart of the Christ in the heart of the messenger, that they might have an expanded chalice to carry more of the light of Elohim. I tell you, beloved, all of your light and life and striving for many incarnations has been to that purpose, that you should become a chalice for Elohim. In the 20 years and more of this dispensation, we have given to you stepping stones as opportunities for the integration of this light within your being. Understand then that the ongoing purpose of all chelas must be to continually expand the heart flame through oneness with the living and the embodied Guru, who then becomes the reflection, the source, and the presence of the Guru Sanat Kumara. There is nothing more important than the expansion of the threefold flame and the chalice of your heart, and the clearing with all due haste of all that is in thy life stream that is less than the perfection of divine love, divine wisdom, and the divine will manifest as God power. The more light you can hold within your heart, the more you may then offer to carry for the balance of the earth world karma, and therefore the more burden can be lifted from this individual life stream. We look forward then to days ahead of the springtime of life, of joy, and the glorification of the name I am that I am. As members of this community worldwide, leap with hearts full of the rejoicing of Elohim to take this opportunity to manifest our presence on earth. Amazonia joins with me in the victory of the God flame. We take our leave of you in this moment, that the Lord of the world might speak.